Thank you. And a really fascinating topic. I've been looking forward to reflecting together on this. And it feels like in our society, it is very much geared towards the next hit. And in our language, we have these acronyms like fear of missing out. So it's like one could be at home and others enjoying their lives, and we see on social media what's happening in ordinary life. So it's this life of like one thing after the other. But on Facebook yesterday, I saw this a new acronym, JOMO, joy of missing out. So it's a reaction maybe to this pull to always be keeping up with others and next thing, which was sweet and I liked it. But maybe today we'll be looking at something even more. So it's beyond even the joy of missing out. Perhaps this is what we want to understand about the yogi that is involved in action, but doesn't need to, never misses anything. So that's one thought from here. And I'm going to hand over and look forward to this opportunity to understand more Karma Yogi, Karma Bhogi life. So welcome, and handing over to Prashant.
Hey, hello and good evening. Now let us create another few moments of silence. During these moments, let us try and grapple with the idea of what is the highest consciousness and what does it mean to experience the highest. Thank you. I like this expression, joy of missing out, and that is very much the life of a yogi and karma yogi. So we will be discussing this subject, karma yogi, or we will get a chance over the next 2 days. But as a preparation for this, let us create some opportunities of the momentum and experience of the yogi. So let us create few moments, few minutes where we come in the experience, what it means to have the highest stage. Let us experience these highest stages. First thing we check is if I'm using the best sight, the best intellect. If I was to ask you, what is the highest stage? What is required? How do you judge what is the highest stage? Do you want to type? You feel free to type in the chat. Do you have a simple way of some guidelines, criteria for you? What is the highest stage?
Silence was initial, maybe when the mind is naturally in silence. Maybe that implies no thoughts, not sure.
Is that enough? Just silence?
Mind free from Maya, Ravan, someone's written eternal, using the Paris intellect, crystal clear thoughts of who I am. Bodiless stage, when there's separation from the story, and to stay unaffected by the story, free from fluctuation. Connecting to the divine energy, dropping roles, recognizing identity, connection with the Father.
Good, very good. That's nice, that momentum. The way, one way to see it, more there is a detachment from this entire physical world, higher the stage. More one gets trapped in this web, lower the stage. For example, someone is into addictions, lust. We know that stage is the lowest. There's degradation there. He himself knows this. So more someone is free from this web, complete free, then we can call it highest stage. Even to experiment with this, this is what our aim would be today. We are experimenting with this, maybe for a few minutes. It will happen gradually. Let us go for the best now. We see the perspective of someone who is already free. That's why we use the language invisible player. We're talking about soul, but here is the invisible player who is aware of this grand physical world. The invisible player is an invisible incarnate. He's a visitor. The invisible player has no prior familiarity with this world. Doesn't know anyone, doesn't know anything. If someone doesn't even know, then he is less likely to create any bondage. So he is the invisible visitor to this physical world, like a tourist. If anyone is visiting and doesn't know anyone, he doesn't know Prashant, doesn't want to know. Further, he sees this whole physical world as a story world with a variety of characters, but it is a story. So if anyone sees the story, no one creates ego in a story. No one creates any desires or preferences in a story. You just watch a story. If a drama is based on a story, you just watch it. We find how easy it is to become free. This invisible player is free from this whole thing. You can watch things coming and going and changing. Invisible player is free. That's what I said. He has no interest to know the details and details. He has no interest in this world. He sees with that attitude. He is more interested in his world, his alokik world. Very interested in his sky, in his home. Very interested in his true family. That is the way he sees. Invisible player is the invisible visitor, is the invisible traveler. He is the invisible observer of this, the whole physical world. He remains free. Thank you. During these few minutes, last 5 minutes, we get a glimpse. If some concentration is used, you will see that that there is freedom, how easy it is to get a glimpse of this complete freedom from this story world. And not just gross things like vices, but you are realizing even the role you are playing. This invisible player, he is free from it. He's free from the role, he's free from others. He doesn't want to know anyone. He's not getting into some familiarity and obligations, commitments. They're finished. It's starting clean. We are seeing the clean perspective from beyond, one who has not started to create any bondage, who has not created any preference even. This whole story may finish and it just changes, it ends, some episodes end. He has got other things to think about. He has got his alokik world. We are getting an idea how to bring about this shift. In a second, Baba likes this, Jivan Mukti in a second. Are you getting the feel of this? So one way to our yogi life is start from where we are, and we are detaching ourselves from this, detaching from people and detaching from auntie and detaching from your sanskaras and detaching from deep sanskaras. That is one way. Here we are seeing start from beyond. Maybe for 5 minutes, maybe for 2 minutes, but you are seeing what it is like to be completely free. And sometimes it may be easier to go for this 100%. More important, it may be 2 minutes, but you get an idea what it means to fly. If the story, you are so free from it, you actually enjoy it more. Why? When you are free, you detach. People don't like to detach, and you detach and you are enjoying it more. How come? You get billions of people, they don't want to detach from anything. So you say if you are completely detached, you enjoy. Why? You want to tell?
Your karma yogi, not karma bhogi. Nanda says freedom, because there's no fear of missing out. Free from sorrow, no expectations. There's no sorrow when you're emotionally free and detached. Freedom of not being influenced by the drama.
Very good. What happens is, until then, you are caught when you are caught in this web, your happiness is from that lower consciousness. When you are free, now you are seeing it as a story. Until then, you were not seeing it as a story. That was your world in confusion. Now you are seeing, and when you see it as a story, the king is nice and King Kong is also nice. The beginning is nice and end is nice. Fog is nice. Different varieties in. Why people go and pay money to watch a film? Sometimes they can be war film. They pay money and watch it because you are watching it as a story. So same thing happens here. The moment you become completely free, then you are seeing this as a great film in which there is horror and terror and war, everything in it, free of charge. So there is no complaint about this film. It is nicely described in the Gita. You win the sky, you also win the earth. You need to be completely free to experience your alokik world. The worst thing is one is dangling in between. So you're not letting go of something and you want something else. You're dangling. But you let go of this, you are discovering your world, your alokik world. You are discovering yourselves to start with. When you are dangling, your ego is also there and you can't even see the self properly because ego is mixed. So when you are letting go, you are seeing the self, the wonder. You are seeing your alokik home and alokik family. It is not a meditation anymore. It is not just a nice commentary. That becomes your world if someone has let go. So you are winning the sky, you also win the earth. That is this world, grand story, great gift. But a story, you don't want to cling to anything there and you don't want anything there. It is every scene comes, different images come and they go, nice, thank you. I clap and go home. That becomes the attitude of the invisible player. So this can be nice to experiment. For 2 minutes, we are experimenting with the consciousness. That's all. We are not saying, we are not trying to make ego perfect. When we say, I am trying to become perfect, ego comes in. You leave that I there, just coming to we want to grasp that perspective, grasp that consciousness. At the practical level, what happens? That experience is happening within us. And so you are understanding, you are not using the word I all along, but the experience is happening. So let us create a few more minutes. Now maybe I'll draw some sketches that will help us grasp this. Our whole challenge is here. This little physical world, that is the web, that is the gift, and that is the story, that is the drama. So that is here, and let us create some clarity about ourselves. And in this, we are starting from here, starting from, let us see the life of the invisible player. Invisible player is associated, passing through this. And here is the line of ignorance. If we are using the best intellect, if we are using paras and best sight, then everything is so straightforward. So here is the family of invisible souls. They got a world that is eternal and safe, beyond harm. Nothing in the three worlds can change anything in this world. Eternal, exists forever. There is invisible souls, they exist forever. And beyond harm. We're just seeing this. Yogi, just this, when one is conscious of this, you are already in the world of yogi. It is the soul, only the soul can become yogi. But he is conscious and seeing what exists. Anytime anyone realizes he is beyond harm, the instinct of fun kicks in. You find everything is a game. Everything is enjoyable. If it is not going to harm you, you go to watch circus and there are lions and there are tigers, but they are not going to harm you, then you have a feeling of fun. You are enjoying it. So here we are seeing the truth. We are just seeing the truth of this family of souls. They all are beyond harm. Nothing in the three worlds can harm them, even the slightest. In this universe, there are black holes and bombs and suicide bombers. But the invisible player is not harmed even the slightest by anything. This is his clear observation and awareness, but this is the truth of everyone. They all have the option. What is the option they have? They can cross that line, create confusion, and they can cry for anything. There is no limit. They can cry about stone. There is a stone, they can cry. A bit like children can cry for no reason. Same here also. They can change a paper tiger into, look at a paper tiger and cry. Those options are there. But here we are seeing the perspective in Paras in full clarity. The invisible players understand they are beyond harm. They are immortal. And further, they need nothing from anywhere for their existence. Different personality appears to be a completely different, new personality. The life that we are aware of ordinarily is an ego-based life. An ego doesn't know a moment without a desire. Ego is eternal beggar. Whatever the outer attainments and all, but if there is an ego is an eternal beggar. He constantly wants. So here we are seeing the personality where there is zero beggar, zero victim. Never a beggar, never a victim. We are just seeing this invisible player who knows of his world, Alaukic world, which is timeless, changeless, endless. And he knows he is lucky. He has this great family of souls. They all are noble. When there is no beggar and no victim, what remains is noble. They all feel they got the best and they feel full. Noble has got this aspect, being full. Each one feels like this. And when anyone is in this space, they are naturally worthy of love and they are loving. All human beings are naturally good. We all know this. That's why we said, if there is an environment of no harm, what natural state is of fun and lightness and happiness and love? This is what we feel. Even stranger we love naturally, as long as he is not going to harm me. Animal, you love them, if they are not going to harm you. So here, this invisible player, he understands nothing in the three worlds can harm him, even the slightest. Just this realization that makes them immensely lovely and loving. Noble, makes them immensely attractive personality. All the sanskaras that we do not like, those sanskaras are not here anymore. the root of those other sanskaras are in beggar and the victim. They create all complications. That's why they all appear immensely lovely and loving, childlike, and at the same time they're godlike. Such is the world of these invisible players. Such is their truth. Now when they do come in the physical world, they see that this physical world is a extraordinary story. If it is a story, just we have to open the eyes and see what is happening. If there is some house and if there is someone walking and there's an animal, stone, these are all paraphernalia for a story. In a sky, clouds, colors, and they change. Every scene changes and the colors change. And new episode starts. See the richness of this story, how extravagant, variety of scenes. There is nothing there to complain. Things come, things go, images change, and we know beforehand things are going to change and end. Right now, there is this scene of Prashant talking and Prashant. This whole scene is going to finish. Prashant will not exist. Not just this Zoom, the Prashant himself won't exist. But some different scene starts. Or it may not start. The whole drama finishes. That is, we know beforehand it is to finish. And there is the home beyond. The invisible player is not a beggar and never a victim. And how did that happen? He's not clinging to anything. He has not come here to catch hold of something and then cry. He's not childish. We are just seeing the personality in full light, that is all. And then we have all options of confusion and ignorance. That option is there. Everyone can create different kinds of ignorance. Like there is one truth, and then one can create, one say there is this pen, and I can see it as a pen, but I can see it as a stick. I can see many great confusion of infinite variety of confusion I can create. So also here, human beings differ in a big way because ignorance is different. And based on that, they can create different kinds of sorrow also in them. But we have the option to come in this full truth and see the perspective. That also gives us an idea how God sees and who God is, what he experiences. If we are getting some glimpses of it, then we can see what is the perspective of someone who is always in truth, in full truth. This is his perspective. That's why we get this message in the Murlis, where there is no reason for even the slightest sorrow. Body is to go, let body go, but don't let happiness go. We hear this. And then the word yogi is a nice word, but it is just a normal state. Baba sees it as normal and natural. What we think is normal is actually bizarre. What we are saying, confusion, extreme confusion, childish, where something that is given as an extraordinary gift, some most beautiful truth, we have twisted it and created such a chaos. Same ones we said here, they are immensely lovely and loving, such a great family of noble beings. They don't know what it means not to love, but the same ones can create such a chaos and ready to destroy the planet. And they come with a concept of a gun, and the only purpose of it is to give sorrow to others. Their brothers, those whom they loved immensely, and they know they are immensely lovely, they are the ones they are ready to give sorrow. Such a swing. It will be nice to hear some thoughts from you.
I think it helps to see how the beggar and victim create such complicated personalities. So we are busy trying to solve the problems at that level. So to come out of what appears to be normal when there's the beggar and victim, it appears like almost ordinarily cannot identify with it. So it's a very interesting shift. So yeah, there's no comments just yet, just that this aspect of newness, I think, when the soul is behind the line, because the soul is awake and alive and breathing, it appears, every moment appears new. So that was one comment. One question in that you mentioned about guns. So the question is coming, how would you deal with a brother who does put a gun to your head?
Sure. Here we are first trying to grasp what it means to wake up. First, we are story. There is many things how we deal with the story, and different drama is full of variety of situations. And each situation is on its own unique. But important aspect for us is who is dealing with it. Is the soul conscious? Is the invisible player there, or is it some other? Am I operating from confusion, or am I operating from highest consciousness? That is our responsibility. And there is no standard prescription, because drama is full, variety, and in the different situations come. If you are in that highest consciousness, that is all that matters. And in that given situation, you act at that time. And whatever his action is done, that is the script. You accept it, you move on. Now in this, let us come to two personalities that helps us, that will take us to the subject of Karma Yogi. Two personalities. And in a sense, these are the only two options. Broadly, these two options each and everyone has. One personality, we can call it ego personality. And what is this personality? The starting position of this personality is absolute confusion. What is that absolute confusion? Is completely caught in this Cinderella story to the level he believes he is Cinderella. That is the starting position itself is lost into. That's why we mean ego. He defines himself based on Cinderella. And then he tries to solve problems of Cinderella and create complaints and busy now. At one time, he knew that he doesn't even need that story. Just like how many of you need to know about Cinderella story? We don't even need to know any story. Starting position is this. But in this extreme confusion, he's so caught up in the story, now busy complaining about things and craving for things within the story, getting angry and annoyed and ready to be aggressive, ready to fight. So that is the starting position is this confusion. But in that personality, there is constant fear of loss. On one hand, he knows he's a loser, everything is going to go. He already knows that. But whole life he's fighting to not to be the loser. So fear of loss, whole life is fighting this. And that can take him to any level. Whilst this is going on, that's why the beggar and the victim, he has to be constantly having desires on top of desires. All along, he knows what is right. He knows what love is and what truth is. He knows this. But he's not able to do this. He knows what is right and he's not doing what is right. And that's why it becomes a hypocrite personality. All throughout. And on top of all this, there is a denial. So it is complete confusion for himself. It starts with confusion and there is a pretense of being nice, but underneath constant, there is self-centered attitudes, desires for nothing. And as we said all along, he doesn't even need any of these things. He is immortal, but whole life is afraid of death. So that is the ego personality. Anyone knows of these personalities? Do you know anyone with this personality? When one is in that personality, the life is of questions, complaints, cravings, concerns, competitions, and what else? Crying. So this is the life. And what is the direction, the result? Degradation, death, and destruction. It is like taking the soul to the lowest level That is possible. Once you are into this ego mind, it doesn't stop there. It takes one to the degradation, the lowest condition of the soul. If we see some demonic behavior here on this planet, it is because of this. Ego can take one to that level. That's why Baba calls it demonic, devilish. These words Baba uses because that is the mindset that creates. Its seed is why there is devilish behavior. The seed is here in the ego. Given the environment, it can go to any level. Devilish, how do you define devilish? Take sorrow, give sorrow. One who deals with sorrow. That is what the devilish personalities are. But wonderful option. This is not the only option. There is other option. What is the other personality? How do you describe it? The word we can use is angelic. And in this, the roots are in full light, full truth. And in this full truth, he knows his independence from the story. Complete independence. He knows of his eternal world. He knows the eternal true family. And as was said before, knows that everyone is lovely and loving. Knows that they are lovely, loving, and lucky. Each and everyone, all life. This applies to all souls, family of souls. They all are lovely, loving, and lucky. They all are immortal. I am going beyond the human family here. If there is life, living souls, they may play the part of animal, but they all are lovely and loving. Once anyone knows they are immortal, they become lovely and loving. And there is nothing else in that angelic personality. There is love there is just love. Everyone is lovely, full stop. He knows that his world is world of truth. He is not in the story. He knows the story has distinct story, but he knows the reality beyond the story. He is not in some delusion in a temporary world. No, this is forever his family, forever his world, his home. He is in the real world. This world is also eternal world. He naturally knows his life with God, his natural life. Just as anyone who wakes up, he knows which family he belongs to. So this is the divine royal family of God, but it is like a royal family, but it is a divine royal. Not just one birth, it is forever. Baba uses the word Raj Rishi. Rishi is like a sage, Raj. royal. The soul says this. The invisible player, he knows this is his life. He also sees the world is of perfection. Wherever he sees, everyone is perfect. They are all viceless and egoless and desireless, selfless. Feeling is perfection. Perfection in the self, perfection in others, but also all-round perfection. Story also he feels is a perfect story. Perfect father, perfect home. Nothing he feels it should be, something is wrong. Story finishes, and one episode finishes, that is the way it is. Just like if you are watching a film, you don't say, oh, film, why it is finished here. It should be another 5 minutes. No, that is the way the film is made. And it is time to go, time to leave this theater. That's what you feel. Same here. The perspective from this personality, there's all around perfection. He feels everything is just right. And he's happy to come, happy to leave. No complaints. The zero, that personality in the other, the constant complaint about something. Here is zero complaint. Zero craving. Zero crying. Zero questions. In connection with the story, no questions in this personality. Because it is the highest consciousness, from that highest consciousness is vision and attitude that is, of course, highest. And it has the highest benevolence. Action in inaction. What is the highest thing that can happen to anyone on this planet? The highest thing that can happen is they shift, come out of that ego personality and come in the angel personality. That's the highest thing that can happen to anyone. And who can help them in this? Only one who is in the highest. During that time, he can help. In my lower consciousness, I can run around and write books. But if I'm already myself in the lower consciousness, I can do so many service. Baba says service, but it becomes a limited service. But if the consciousness is the highest, during those seconds, minutes, you are in a position to bring about this shift. Reason tells us in that highest consciousness, attitude is the highest, vision is the highest, and benevolence is the highest. Action in inaction. Externally, you appear to be not running around, but silently there will be benefit to the family of souls. That's why this is a region in life of the one in this personality It's the life of punya. Punya is good karma, as opposed to the other life. In the ego personality, life is of sin. Just what he is doing, he ends up sin on top of sin. Whereas here, as he breathes, he performs punya. Punya is opposite of sin. What a life. No one can have a higher quality of life than one who is in this personality. Here we are talking about life with God, being worthy to be loved by God, worthy to have company of God, to know God. And world of truth and world of immortality and world of perfection, he feels things are perfect. And also in this, your intervention, it is not angel, I am in my bliss, but he also brings highest benefit for others. And as a result, life of blessings and bliss. So this is Baba's task. What Baba does, Baba's attitude, vision, knowledge, it is all to help us shift, take that jump in this highest consciousness. And once that is there in place, then the rest all is on the rails. In a golden age is the next destination. All that is required is shift of consciousness. Now, you want to add anything? Say anything?
Yes, it'd be nice if anyone has any thoughts, questions. I was just reflecting on a method to go from this karma bhogi state, which is going to be there if there is not the fullness. So, for example, obsession with a project in the drama, and we get into this action-based momentum, but reflecting today that see the aim of whatever is being done, especially if it's spiritual service, and see how that is already there at another level, the perfection. It might be to reach others or help someone, or we can get into feeling of desperation to complete something. But if you see the aim of it and see the perfection between souls and in that environment, it brings a lot of peace, because actually what had happened is ego got mixed in and got fired up. So I don't know if you have anything to add on the ways that we can, creative ways we can put a break to this momentum that comes when the intellect is not holding on to this. Do you have like different methods that work for you?
Sure.
Other than what's shared?
Yeah, sure. You know what has happened is we are talking about this options. We have spoken of the options in the two personalities. There is no shortcut understanding of these personalities is not enough. At present, this ego-based personality is so stubborn. That is the way, that's why it is the Iron Age. It is like an extreme level and stubborn. We are all, the 7.9 billion souls are held in that ego personality. And as was said, at different levels, some may be at one kind of ignorance, some are at another kind. Baba has also used the word, even Maya is Sato, Rajo, Tamo, means different levels of this ignorance and different level of bondage, different level of hypocrisy, different level of demon. But 7.9 billion souls are held in that. We have the option to come into this clean angel personality, angelic experience. Maybe 4 minutes, maybe another minute at a time. When attention is not there, they will be shifted back into the old personality. Such is the situation. We may have to create our own program. We need to create a program where we come in that, experience and create a momentum and understand this is important. But the rest of the time, when attention is not there, note that resting state is the ego-based life. Just what we are saying, any time you have to ask, do I really see this world around, including Prashant, as all part of the story, and it may finish any moment and it is okay? Do I see it like that? Do I see this world, physical world, with independence? Just as I'm watching some story of some king and lion, some story, I'm watching the story. In the same way, am I seeing this physical world with that independence? If I'm not seeing it with that 100% independence, then I have crossed the line. But what we are also seeing here, we have the option. Even as I'm talking of this independence, we all got to experience for those seconds what it is like, that we have the option to see it differently, to see from another completely different angle. Otherwise, this ego want to keep me as a still in the Prashant. The Prashant is becoming holy and still in that camp, of the story. And ego can create another, new ego, that I am so holy. This kind. So that will be happening, and that is happening in me. But that is not the destination. Destination is for the invisible soul to wake up. We are not going there. That is not the aim. Sometimes people use this language, I am going there. And then you are taking your ego with you. Ego would very much love to go there and claim that I am the angel. Now we are seeing that invisible player who wakes up and understands he is completely separate to Prashant and everything around Prashant. Prashant is part of the story, and that will be there. And that episode will finish there. But the invisible player wakes up. Try and see the difference and get this unmixed perspective. As was said, ego is stubborn and wants to mix whatever you are doing, wants to mix, make it ego-based practice.
I have a couple of questions. One is just on what you just shared. Could you give an example of Sato Pradhan Maya?
We said, in this context, and a different level of our ego, we mentioned, there is someone maybe extreme level of hypocrisy. He doesn't even realize what is going on, blatant. But some are sort of, but they are body conscious, but it is not creating lots of problems to others, not creating problem to himself. So it is still body consciousness. That's why it is Maya, but Sato Pradhan Maya. Baba uses this word. Maya is also Sato Rajo Tamo, Baba said. It means different levels.
Okay, hope it helps. Thank you. A question from a little earlier, which may have been addressed in a way, but is God's love unconditional as well as soul's love unconditional?
Of course, what we are seeing here, there is a story going on here, and invisible player who is conscious, and we are seeing here that once he's conscious, that personality, he loves his brothers, he loves his brother's souls, he knows they are immensely lovely and loving, full stop. He is not saying I love them based upon the script in a story somewhere else. That script is going on, and story, whatever the script, that is separate. They are playing a part in that story, but that's the story. But he sees his brother and full stop. He's not mixing the real world with the story world. This is for the soul that is conscious. But for the ego is completely, doesn't even see the soul. He's judging everything based on the story, and in that confusion. So he says, I love Cinderella and I don't love ugly sister, and he doesn't even know that it is a story or there are actors behind. And then he may then give a certificate to himself. Okay, I am going to love ugly sister. I am going to forgive her. I'm going to love her, unconditional love. But it is a confusion. He forgives her today, maybe not tomorrow.
I think where this question is coming from is in one of the morning readings. It was heard that God loves the children who love him. So I think that's where that question is coming from. It sounds quite conditional.
Oh, sure. Baba uses that language to inspire us to make certain efforts. Baba is, as a teacher, there are certain incentives he has to give, and that is the language that is used. Baba might even say strict also, and Baba used to say for some person, no toli today. Baba would give toli to, but no toli to some people. And Baba would say, to give toli is a sign of love, not to give toli also is a sign of love. Why Baba is doing this? Just to get a message across, and to free the souls from their ego and Ravan and demon. Sometimes some need, different prodding also. So whatever that is done, It is the act coming from that teacher, and that is the language from that teacher. But even that is done, that language is spoken, Baba might even say, I don't love. Baba has, we hear that in the Murli also, don't come in front. If you are not following certain lifestyle, don't come in front. Why would Baba say it? Because he loves and he wants to inspire. Ultimately, he knows that everyone have to come in front of him.
I hope that helps. Yeah, nice to clarify. So there aren't any other questions or comments at the moment. And if you have anything you want to share before you take a break.
Now we are coming to the karma yogi, the subject of karma yogi. You are now understanding what is yogi. The personality that is the one who is conscious. Yogi only applies to the soul. That it doesn't apply to Prashant. We are separating this very clearly. Cinderella can never be the yogi. Even though ego is created around Cinderella, wants to say, yes, I'm a yogi. But only the soul that is conscious is yogi. And he is involved into the drama, involved in everything. But we are seeing here his life and experience, inner life. Inner life is based upon the alokik experiences. Mind is experiencing that reality. Those happiness is coming from there. A perfection he's experiencing. He's experiencing a world of blessings and bliss and God and family. He becomes yogi to start with. In the drama, actions are going on. The drama continues. Like right now, Prashant is talking. The drama is going on. So it becomes karma yogi. What is the other option? If the soul is not conscious, if the invisible player is not conscious, then the 10 heads of Ravan are conscious. When we say ego, Ravan is just here. Ravan's department is based on the story, 10 heads of Ravan. And his life, Bhogi is indulgence. Ravan is constantly insecure because, as was said, he's a loser. In that confusion, he creates these attachments to something that is temporary. He's going to lose everything. But whole life, he's trying to address this loss, potential loss. And his idea of satisfaction, happiness, is trying to cling to anything that is available there. That is the personality that we see. So he thinks there is happiness. Someone praises his shoes, thank you. Someone gives him some cake, thank you. So whole department of so-called happiness of Ravan is a bhogi life. It never ends because just that head gets bigger, he wants more. So when it is, that's why this English word indulgence is nice because it never ends. You give him one chocolate, I want one more. It doesn't end. So how can I get more? You praise him today, but what about tomorrow? Why you didn't praise me now? Yesterday you praised. Why are you quiet? You sent me a card, Christmas card last year. Why not this year? So you never can satisfy Ravan, and the indulgence takes form at many levels. It is not just sense pleasures, but it can be wherever there is Ravan. The sign of this is the initial sorrow of missing, lacking, needing, and losing. Maybe I'll write this down. When Ravan is involved in it, so the subtle feelings that come, karma bhogi, one who is bhogi, his experiences will be lacking something or missing something, needing something, and losing something. And because to deal with these feelings, empty feelings, all these four creates this emptiness, Ravan's emptiness. So he needs to fill it in from outside. And it doesn't end. He wants to take more. So that is Ravan's karma bhogi life. And it can apply to anything as long as it is within the story world. Then it is karma bhogi. How do we deal with it? We saw these two personalities. Sometimes people might say, okay, right now I'm here, ego, and I am making the ego smaller. I'm trying to understand the sanskaras, study these sanskaras. I have to first remove this sanskara. I have to first change the job, and then I will, for whatever reason, I spend time in that camp. Ego just gets bigger, and ego has no possibility to go on the other side, no possibility or no intention. The only method that works, what is that method? The only method that works we call it jump. Just now, go for it now. Come into that invisible player perspective now. Understand that? Let the invisible player wake up now. And for this practice, you don't need to do 7 days course. We said these two options are there for each and every person on this planet. And they might have not done the 7 days course, but they have the option to take that jump, see the perspective from the invisible player, and get on with it. All these lessons, Baba has said this also, 7 days course, it is of 1 second. The essence of all the 7 days course is this jump, get on that side, get in that experience. Moment you in a day, say rest of the day today, create 30 times. It can be 30 seconds. Check if it is the perspective of the invisible player. Only he can be the yogi to start with. Karma yogi is a word used. Only the invisible player. Ego can never be the yogi. So let us start from there and let us start this new seed. Once we are starting from that space, it leads to angel. Just like the ego, it ends up creating demons. In the other consciousness, the invisible player, it is It is the one that becomes the angel. Seed is angelic. So it may start with seconds and minutes, but it is clean inside out. So, and I'm sure we'll go to the rooms and meet after the rooms.
Yes, and we've saved a couple of questions that have come up for when we return. Would you like to just pose a question or something that may help start off the discussions in the rooms?
What is Karma Yogi? What it means to be Karma Yogi?
Yeah, that makes sense. So this opportunity to meet with everyone, as always, just a reminder to, if possible, create space for everyone to share. You'll have about 15 minutes. If you're in the wrong room for your language, you can press help button, or if you know how to change your rooms, you can find the grid symbol and move to a different room. And if you have camera option, it's a really nice way to properly meet virtually, as it were. So we'll meet back soon and enjoy. Thank you. Welcome back. And that's great. Maybe just one short minute, but making it powerful way to connect to the essence for ourselves. And then we'll continue. Thank you. Thank you. So it would be really nice to hear from you what came up if anyone wishes to type. But one thought from here, words in spirituality or in general can get debased. And I think karma yoga may be one of those words. So these kind of opportunities to be together and just really get to the essence. And certainly as a new Brahmin, hearing the word karma yoga would often equate to the day that everyone gets together and cleans the center. So in my mind, karma yoga often kind of went together with hoovering. But and in a way, it is of course an act which is a great thing to do, but it really is not describing what Baba is meaning. And it's nice, this point that was made, that the drama is going on, but the consciousness, what is the experiencer behind that? Is it the one that is seeing it without the need to take credit and indulge? Is it the yogi observing the scenes, or is it the Bhogi mindset that's claiming and labeling everything with I and my? So I think it helps a lot, and then also maybe a little cautious to use this debased version. So it's great to hear, and appreciations to the sharings and different comments. One, would it be possible to share some thoughts about momentum from the Spanish group, how to create it and what prevents it, and what should be the outcome? So that's a little time left. Don't know if Prashant wants to take that up.
Great, sure. I hope you enjoyed the break and discussions. And it is nice to bring this distinction. We may be using the word karma yoga with emphasis on karma, but the way Baba sees it, the moment we are on the drama stage, you are performing karma. An actor is on the stage, he may be standing still, he may be walking, he may be sitting, he's performing karma. He is on the stage. Now the question is, the difference is at what is happening at the inner level. Is the yogi there? That's what makes the difference. So ordinarily, if that attention is not there, accurate, here we are absolutely emphasizing invisible player who is conscious and sees his independence from the story. If this is happening, then you are in a different camp altogether. If the invisible player is not conscious, then we are saying it is not yogi. We can please ourselves, but it is not during those seconds, it is not a yogi. And if one is not a yogi, then Ravan is eternal Bhogi. Different heads all the time. He's thinking in what way he can indulge. And that will be going on through thoughts. It can be at a gross level. That's what we were meaning, Satora Jotamo. So different levels of indulgence starts. But that is okay, that we at least know, and we have the option to bring about the shift. Understand this, game of a second. We can bring about a shift now. Maybe for a short time, but good habits and bad habits start somewhere. And that may answer the momentum. We want to gather the momentum, and Baba gives this different cluster of practices. Reflect, like right now, we are thinking, reflecting, but not to stop there. Definitely bring in these seconds, minutes of the quality effort. Otherwise, Baba also often says, knowledge is easy. Yoga, there are obstacles. So to create that momentum, once you start getting experiences, when you are going for that quality, it takes you to experiences. When it is ego-based effort, it doesn't bring you experiences. And once you are getting experiences, it creates a huge enthusiasm. All of these things are the steps towards the momentum. But Sarah, want to add anything or ask? Are we addressing the question?
Yes, the one that asked, yeah, the response is yes, it is good. What prevents it from happening is we're hearing from Ricardo, who's also translating. So But did you address this as well?
In Maya is constantly obstructing, because if you are really yogi, then ego will die. And ego has got full program to create obstacle. So in this game, we just need to use that determination, different powers to be determined, because ego is determined to keep the souls in a ego camp. Two words, that may be useful to create a momentum. One is destination. Be very clear. Have you got a destination? Where do you want to be? Then sharpen it. Be very. It may be clear yesterday, but is it clear today? Ultimate destination, very clear. What is your spiritual destination? That is one. And other is destruction. Ego doesn't like these two things: your spiritual destination and destruction. The whole ego exists under the belief that it will not end. That's why something that is guaranteed to lose, he's spending whole life trying to survive, something like this. Because he cannot see the end. Maybe need to bring in the guaranteed end of this the physical existence, and make it very clear to the ego that there is an end. And this it is like a light, shining light here within ourselves. The help for the invisible player is in light. Light of truth, light of knowledge favors the soul. Ignorance, confusion, darkness favors the ego. I definitely underline these two words: destination and destruction. Just reminding ourselves many times in a day.
Yeah, thank you. Question from before the rooms. Is it possible for the ego to ever be content with everything? Or is it the angel that is awake if we are feeling contentment?
Yes, in the ego, the temporary contentment happens in ego, but undercurrent will be, what about tomorrow? There will be always something going on, because it is based on something that is unpredictable. Whereas when it is coming from the soul, it is like a carefree. There is like no undercurrents.
Okay, that helps. And a question as well, is there a word rogi? Rogi?
Bhogi?
Rogi with an
Rogi.
R.
Right, sure. Rogi is for illness. Baba sometimes plays with those words. Those who are rogi, those who are bhogi, that leads to becoming rogi. So it is a natural consequence. More I indulge, Ravan's happiness brings pain. The penalties come. So if I am indulging through the body, senses, there will be pain through the body also. So indulging in relationships, there will be pain in relationships. And so pain will come, that is illness and rogi.
Okay, thank you. Interesting how these words rhyme. So there aren't any other questions at this point, so we just have a few minutes left if you wanted to complete on anything.
Yeah, we will create some more minutes in experience. And this is like a nice formula for us. Game of a second. And there is no shortcut. If this step is not taken, then we are just in the ego camp in some form. And that step is invisible player wakes up. An invisible player sees his existence, his alokik world. That is natural and normal for him. His true family, his true father. That is all natural and normal for him. And he sees there is a story. Story is story. It can be very sophisticated and on a big screen, or it can be a little story. All stories are stories. Invisible player knows his independence from the story. Story may end, story changes, ends, begins. And the invisible player knows he is immensely lucky. His life is with God. His world is world of truth, world of immortality, world of perfection. Everyone appears perfect, everything appears perfect. Everyone is good, everything is good. He understands this universe is positive. Everything is made very positive. Whoever has, if there is a creator to this universe, it is done positively. The souls are naturally good, and this physical world is an extraordinary gift, like a PlayStation. It is a extremely positive universe as long as these players stay in truth, as long as they don't cross the line and become confused. It is a positive universe for those who are in truth. And we have the option to stay in that. There is no real compulsion to go into confusion. Confusion and sorrow is not compulsory. As we go through the rest of the evening, we remind ourselves of this option many times. Option of truth. Option of angelic perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. And this could be the homework many times. coming back, you mentioned earlier, I think 30 times for 30 seconds. And maybe until we meet again, because for some of us, it's not that long before the day ends. Thank you so much to everyone, and look forward to this building of momentum. And we have a few minutes. We may play a drill from Matapan. So we will be closing with that. Thank you.
च